Welcome back, folks, to another episode of Generation Red. It is episode 153, and we are the kettle corn of Husker Sports Podcast, where we try to be sweet, but at times we get a bit salty. I am one of your hosts, Ken.
And hey, folks, it's Scott.
I am Coach BA.
And tonight we're here to talk about the debacle that happened, of course, in Las Vegas. I don't believe we're going to spend a whole lot of time on it because a lot of other folks in the media and other podcasts have spent plenty of time covering it themselves. But, of course, Gen Red has their own unique spin on things. And we've just got a few thoughts we'd like to share with you all about the game. But before we do that, make sure you're following us on all the socials, which is at Gen Red Pod on Facebook, X, and YouTube. Our podcast, the audio version of this show, is available on your favorite app, Google, Spotify, or Apple. Just search for Generation Red and subscribe. The website is genredpod.com. The email is genredpod@gmail.com. And we also have merchandise available. Just go to our website at genredpod.com, and you will go to the top of the page. If you're listening to this podcast, go up to the top of the page, click on that link in the gray bar at the top. Or if you're watching this stream right now or watching this on demand later, use that QR code in the top corner of the screen. Just scan it with your camera and it'll take you right to our merch store, courtesy of our buddies over there at Husker Sports. We appreciate them very, very much. We also want your opinion during the show. So make sure you sound off in the live chat, or if you're watching this on demand later, leave a comment down below, and always remember to like and subscribe. And don't be afraid to maybe leave a thumbs down once in a while. Hey, any engagement's good engagement, right?
Yeah, leave an angry comment if
Leave
you
an
have
angry, pissed. We want to know it. Pinsnipe Husker says, "Hey, fellers, good to see you, Pinsnipe. It's been a bit. I hear him all the time on the Average Joe show. They shout him out as well. And of course, Moonbot is always there as well. Howdy, nerds. We love you, Moonbot. Thank you. New Husker Pod. I recognize Coach BA's handle. Well, we appreciate you popping in, Pitt, as he wants to be called. So, I don't know.
Welcome to the show, my friend. I
100%. I see Pitt
applaud-
Snipe pretty much everywhere.
I
Mhm.
applaud your desire for pain and suffering to be highly invested in all Husker sports media, specifically for the football program, because pretty much any other sport,
Pretty good.
you're living pretty good.
Yeah.
But this Husker football program, man.
Well, I'm not going to lie, about midway through the second half of that Ohio State-Nebraska basketball game last night, there was some pucker factor going on when Ohio State took a bit of a lead there for a while, and they were draining some threes, and then it seemed to go back and forth. But dang, that defense is just so much fun to watch. They're absolutely relentless. They will not let – every shot, it seems, is absolutely contested, and it's really fun to watch.
Yep, it was a fun game to watch last night. Lead changed, I think, 8 or 9 times. Those are those types of games that shows that Nebraska this year has taken a huge step in a different direction, where they're either going to beat you down and grind you to a pulp, or they're not going to let you win easy at all.
You're going to have to grind it out.
Yeah, I mean, Vegas had them predicted to lose by 2.5 points, and we won by 3 points. So
there you go.
GG's.
Pitt Snipe Husker is let me know in the chat that a Pitt Snipe is a naval engineer that works in the engine room. No innuendo, Ken. Well, appreciate that. I need to be educated once in a while in my own ignorance. So I appreciate that very much, Pitt. Welcome to the show. It's so good to have you and Moonbot in here hanging out with us. So if any of you are listening to this podcast later and you'd like to check out what it's like to see a live chat, we hop on here on Tuesdays at 7:30. We're going into the off season, so it's probably going to be more or less once a month. Our next show will be sometime in February when we will actually do, finally, our 2025 over-under game results show with Derek and Justin from the Husker Podcast. I just reached out to them. They said to let them know what night in February they want to do that. So you've got that coming up in February. Most likely we won't do another show again until March. That might be kind of a spring ball preview type deal. And then, of course, April comes along, and there's probably going to be a spring game this year that we can cover. So that should be interesting. Everything about Husker football right now is interesting. And most interesting of all, of course, is the last 3 games of the season highlighted by, or lowlighted, if you will, by the utter horrific performance by that defense in the Las Vegas Bowl, and the offense that just decided to show up late in the fourth quarter after they were really good in the first and then just went away for 2.5 quarters, which is something we've seen a lot this season, where the scripted plays are awesome. Score quickly, score in bunches in the first and maybe beginning of the second quarter, and then gone. So we'll jump into that. Some main takeaways from the bowl game. I'll start with you, Coach. What's the main thought that you have coming out of the bowl game? The thing that says, this is just, I can't believe this happened.
If you were to tell me, even a month and a half ago that we were going to lose the last 3 games of the season to Penn State, to Iowa, and then a bowl game against Utah, I would have believed you. I would have been, okay, I can see all of those things happening, right? But the way in which it happened that's just what has blown me away. Again, if you would have told me when Dylan goes down, you would have said, all right, you're going to beat UCLA and then you're going to lose the rest. I was say, okay, I can see that. But man, just to get pushed and bullied around the way that the last 3 games of the season went has just absolutely blown my mind. I did not see that coming at all. And it's something that I don't know. It's hard to be, I know we're going to talk about it in the future. It's hard to be super optimistic in the future for right now when this is supposed to be the, big year 3 jump. I know we talked about it a whole bunch after the Iowa game, so we don't need to relitigate all that. But again, this bowl game was just another one of those. This is the year 3 team you're putting out there, man.
Mm-hmm. Scott.
It's hard to say I was surprised. I don't think I was surprised about anything that we did or didn't do. I think it was pretty much on par with what I expected. In a good note, I'd say that I'm surprised that our running back room stepped up the way that they did, because they were basically on the back of a milk carton, as my dad likes to use that expression. They're pretty much on the back of a milk carton, aside from Emmett Johnson and what he was doing for us this year. And so having Mekhi Nelson be able to run for 88 yards was pretty neat. But I guess the part that did surprise me was just how good Utah looked. I mean, I knew that they were a good team. Like, don't get me wrong. I watched highlights. I knew that they were a very capable team, but I thought there was at least somewhat of a competitive contrast between Nebraska and Utah. And that game just looked like we were outmatched and outgunned in almost every aspect. Aside from that first quarter, which I've been sitting here looking for it. I swear I saved it. That one guy, I always forget his name, on Twitter, he did a comparison of how many points we've scored in the first quarter versus how many points we've scored literally any other time. I swear I saved it either on my phone or whatever. And it's just a perfect comparison of the nothing burger that Nebraska seems to produce in the second quarter. And I can't find it. I don't know what I did with it. I swear I bookmarked it. So I was like, oh, this is perfect for the podcast. And it's gone. It's nowhere to be found. Just what are we doing? It just didn't seem like we had any rhythm. We had no motion. We had no swag. we were playing on our heels all game, and it seemed like a team that we've seen before with the Mike Riley era, a team that as soon as things got tough, it looked like they just threw their hands up and kind of gave up. It surprised me at this point in year 3. What we were promised with Matt Rule was a competitive team that was going to win games, and they were never going to back down and lose in a fight because they gave up. And I mean, we saw it in Iowa, we saw it with Utah now, and it's just kind of demoralizing. It made me, the part that surprised me was it took me to a new level of low, because I was pretty low at the end of the season, the way that things turned out against Iowa, which in hindsight, I will give credit where credit is due. Iowa had a really good team this year. They did. They really did. They had a good team this year. They had a lot of really heartbreaking losses. They should have pulled it off against Oregon. They did exactly what Iowa does. They gave themselves less than 2 minutes left in the game, holding a tie, and Oregon just went down and did what a 5-star type of program does, and they beat Iowa. And Iowa was a really, really good team this year. So whatever, man. Like, it's all water under the bridge. But was Iowa that much better, or was Utah that much better than Iowa? Maybe, but I guess I just expected more. I expected more from this team. 7-6 was not. I'd have to go back and listen and see what I may have said would be our floor, but I'm pretty sure my floor would have been 8-5.
Yeah.
So they let me down, man. They let me down.
Yeah, I'm with you, because I think what I noticed watching the game, my main takeaway is kind of something we said while we were watching the game, and that is that everything that Nebraska did once Utah adjusted after that first quarter, everything Nebraska did on offense and defense looked difficult, looked like they had to grind and figure it out, and they were banging their heads against the wall more often than they were succeeding, whereas everything Utah was doing, especially on offense, looked easy. Space everywhere for the quarterback to throw into. That stupid motion play with the quarterback draw that they ran 10 times and kept tons of yards on because he just kept the ball and gashed us. How do you not adjust? How do you not figure out when this is coming? To tell your kids, you got to do this instead. Stop whatever it is you're doing that's letting that play be successful. That dude's a grown man. I mean, Devon Dampier is a grown man. He was like watching, he's like watching Underwood when he ran all over us when Michigan was in town, even Aiden Childs is a pretty big dude that can run a little bit. So, but that Dampier, that dude is real stuff. So, that's the thing that struck me, was how easy it looked for Utah on both sides of the ball and how difficult it looked for Nebraska on both sides of the ball. And that's really kind of been the case since Rule became the coach. Everything is tough. Everything is a grind. Everything is a just got to claw for that last inch, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I remember a day and I don't want to be get off my lawn guy, but I remember a day when our offensive linemen used to tell the other team what play was coming, and they still couldn't stop it. And we've gotten away from that mentality that says we're going here and there's nothing you can do about it. I guarantee you, Indiana's got that mentality, and they were telling Alabama that shit all game long. We're going here, buddy, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Ken, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think Kurt Signetti goes to his team, goes to the Indiana media, and says every game we play in is going to be super close and come down to the very end?
Nope. We're going to kick people's asses, is what he said right from the jump.
100%. And a lot of people gave them a lot of flack for it because he's at Indiana and saying, Purdue sucks and Ohio State and Michigan suck and all the crazy stuff he said. And like you said, we're going to kick everybody's ass. But that mentality, that's how his team plays. And look what they just did to Alabama. And again, I understand the comments are going to be like, oh, well, that's the unicorn. Everyone's trying to get the, Signetti. I get that. But you're telling me that that mentality can't be replicated in any way. That's where I just have a hard time. I understand there's only one Curt Signetti, but man.
Exactly. Moonbot, I think, was struggling with the vertical. He says, a better view now. It's funny when we do this new setup where we can do the vertical thing. There's two streams that show up on YouTube. You can watch the landscape or you can watch the portrait, depending on what device you're using. And if you try to watch the landscape or the portrait on your TV, it gets real funky.
Yeah.
So
It does.
thank you, Moonbot, for figuring it out. It's kind of a pain. And yes, I agree, Scott. It gives me the TikTok vibes too, but it sure makes
people love that. Some
sure
people love that.
YouTube shorts.
Yeah, watching the shorts and all that, really cool. I've watched a couple of the streams and, not our streams, but other people's, streams in the vertical, and not a fan of watching the streams that way, but the clips and the YouTube shorts, those are cool.
So Pit Snipe said something, and this kind of leads into, he said, before we kind of talk about the depressing performance, maybe we should take a moment to appreciate Mekhi Nelson's stellar performance. I'm excited for him next season. And I completely agree with you, Pit Snipe. He looked like he couldn't be stopped in that first quarter. And until, of course, Utah figured out how to stop what Dana was calling, and then Dana couldn't figure out how to call something different to take advantage of what Utah was doing. But that's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. The offense just goes dormant once the defense adjusts. But Mekhi was great. He looked like he had some of the same moves that Emmett has. I mean, that ability to just kind of juke and set guys up and then just make a quick little jump step and off he goes down the field. So it was a really good performance by him. And we might as well throw it out there before we kind of get into the stats. We do have some players of the game, guys. And you're not going to like me, Pitt, but I've got Caleb Benning because he was literally the only bright spot on that defense with 13 tackles. He had the most tackles in the game for both teams. And then Scott and Coach, of course, have Mekhi Nelson for reasons. I almost picked him too, and it probably would have been wise of me to do so. But yeah, Benning's 1A and Mekhi Nelson's 1B.
Well, I will say, Caleb Benning also, was a standout player for me too. I'm not taking anything away from him. I just went to my thoughts of maybe it's not a great thing when Caleb Benning is the highest tackler on our team, not because of him, just because of the position he plays. You know what I mean? We don't want him getting 13 tackles, I feel like.
The score could have been way worse.
It could have. Yes, it could have. So that's the player of the game. Let's jump into some stats just so we can see just how incredibly fun this game was for those kids to play, because it wasn't. Team stats: Huskers were 343 total yards. The Utes had 535. Rushing 161 to 225. Passing was our worst game as a secondary of the year. I don't think we had a single team pass for over 200 yards against us this year until this game. 310 for Utah, 182 for Nebraska, which is respectable for a guy like Latif that really didn't have a whole lot of time to prepare because he was working with a bad hammy. 17 first downs for Nebraska, 26 for the Utes. Third downs, they were both 50% conversion rate, 8 of 16 for Nebraska, 7 of 14 for Utah. Utah was better on fourth down, 2 for 3. Nebraska was 1 for 3. And penalties were pretty even. They kept the flags in the pockets, which was kind of nice to see for a change. 5 for 35 for Nebraska, 4 for 25 for Utah. One interception and turnover for Nebraska, none for Utah. And we actually won the time of possession. One of my keys to victory last week was Nebraska holding the time of possession advantage. It wasn't much of one, 31 minutes, 39 seconds to 28-21. So those are the team stats. Any thoughts on those guys? Is there something that kind of strikes you there that you kind of want to point out?
Well,
no, go ahead, Scott.
So you can say it looks like the game we saw I mean, it's a perfect representation of it. Our third down efficiency is the exact same as Utah. The only difference is that Utah didn't really need to rely on converting third downs that much. Yeah. I mean, I finally found it. I found the stat in the photo I was looking for. Turns out I didn't like it or bookmark it on Twitter. It was a screenshot I saw on Facebook from Twitter. It's just all this convoluted sourcing, but I found it. Yeah, I'll just not segue, but sidestep here. It's perfect. You got Nebraska's total yards, rushing, passing, all that fun jazz. A lot of that was in those first two drives. And looking at the stats, the last 7 games of Nebraska's offense, Minnesota to Utah, the first 2 drives of the game, we scored a total of 52 points. 52 points in 7 games. And then all remaining drives for the rest of the season, 7 games, we only scored 53 points.
That is
7
Scott,
games.
Scott, you might have just ruined my night.
Now, there is an asterisk, and it says it's excluding garbage time touchdowns. So there is,
that
I
helps
don't know,
a little, I guess.
Few more,
tough.
but yeah, garbage time doesn't
tough.
count. But looking at this, like 343 yards, let me guess. A lot of those were in the first 2 drives, and then that last 10 minutes of the game where we started to look a little bit fluid.
Yeah. So I'm looking at this right now. So out of that, however many yards, the first drive was an 82-yard touchdown drive. The second one was a 75-yard touchdown drive. So that's
a third or 2/3.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's half your yardage in a game.
Yeah.
170 yards or pretty close to it, 160 yards. So, yeah, my goodness. We thought bringing Dana in here was going to be this boon on offense. We've all said over and over again that he's one of the best play callers that college football has seen. But yet now you're kind of hearing from some media outlets and some other podcasts and whatnot that Dana maybe he's lost his fastball, maybe ability
I
to
feel like, I don't know. Here's where
what his defense is doing versus what he thinks it's going to do when he scripts his plays. It's just he's not there anymore, or he's just not used to calling this kind of offense when he wants to really run a more of an air raid, or a run and shoot type situation. What do you think, Coach?
Here's where I stick, because I've heard a lot of the takes on Dana from, the fan podcast, the media, radio shows or whatever else they got going on. Here's where I kind of stand on the Dana situation. I still fully believe that Dana Holgorsen is a great offensive coordinator. I do believe that. Now, obviously this season's, statistics aren't going to back me up on that.
Right.
I just feel like that if we're going to bring Dana Holgorsen in, and I know that verbally we've said we're doing everything he wants. If this is what Dana wants to do, I don't want him here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If we truly handed him the keys and this is what he wants, this isn't what I want. What I feel like is maybe happening a little bit more is it's kind of a combination between here's what Dana wants to do, but here's also what Matt Rule's offense wants to be. And this mixture is not working. So I would say either we need to go full on Dana Holgorsen of let him cook, and maybe that fails too. I don't know. But when you look at the offenses that he's coached, this is not it. It seems like a muddy mixture between what Matt Rule kind of wants. I mean, one of the biggest things that we said coming into, if we go back and listen to some of those shows, is how easy it was going to be on the quarterback, with Dana Holgorsen. And this is the complete opposite. It's extremely difficult on the quarterback. So it's just, I feel like if we're not going to just go full on Dana Holgorsen, then what's the point of him being here? You know what I mean? That's at least my kind of thoughts is I feel like we're running pretty much the same type of offense as last year. Maybe a few new wrinkles, but the same core concepts. And what's the point? What's the point of having him here, you know?
Yeah, and I think Pitt Snipe, Scott put that comment up there. The consensus he's been hearing is that Rule is holding, and we've said that before
Yeah.
on the show, that he's running Sat's old playbook.
Yes.
And trying to, I don't know.
Again, if that is Holgerson's decision, then I don't want him here. I hate to say it that way, but like I hate to be so harsh and cold with that. But like, what's the point?
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
That was the point. That was the point of Pitt's Its point was that Rule is holding Holgerson to Sat's playbook, not
which I do believe. From what I've gathered, I believe that's probably true. Which at that point, why do you want Dana Holgerson here? Is the question I would ask Matt Rule. Why do you want him here if you're not going to?
It didn't work when Sat was running it. What makes you think it's going to work with Holgerson running it? Because it just doesn't look like we're setting things up like we used to back in the day.
Yeah.
You know, like we were talking, like I was talking about earlier, when back in the day when the offensive line's telling the defense what's coming. Granted, it was in the old Big 8 when Kansas wasn't very good. Kansas State was pretty good at times, but they get worn down in the fourth quarter. But, you know, those were 7 or 8 plays in a playbook that Osborne would figure out would work really, really well based on what he saw in the first half of the game. And then he just started running it over and over and over again in the second half out of the 85 formations that those kids could run those plays out of. So you didn't know what was coming, even though it was basically the same 6 or 7 plays.
Right.
It all looked different. So, anyway, and Pitt Snipe also says Dana was also working with a bad O-line coach.
Yeah, this is fair. This is fair.
Absolutely fair. Absolutely fair. So, let's move on to the next slide if I can find it here. Here we go. This is the individual game leaders for Nebraska. TJ Lateef, 182 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 INT. Mekhi Nelson was your leading rusher with 12 carries at 88 yards and a touchdown. That was like 6.8 yards a carry, if I remember right. Isaiah Mosey, the other running back / utility player, I guess you'd call him, 4 receptions for 48 yards. I believe Mekhi Nelson also had receptions for a total of 48 yards, but I think Mosey was listed as leading because he had less receptions and churned out that same number of yards. So, Caleb Benning, leading tackler, 13, 4 of them solo, and sacks was Javen Wright with 1.5. So, Utah, on the other hand, Dampier was the offense. He absolutely was the offense. 19 of 31 for 310 yards, 2 touchdowns, 19 carries for 148 yards, 3 touchdowns. And their leading receiver was D. Bentley, 6 receptions, 106 yards, 1 touchdown. That was a tight end. Killed us in that game. Both of them did. Tackles M and A with 9 of them, 3 of them solo, and then Ave Mahi, I guess is his last name. Please forgive me if you're watching. You're probably not, with 1 sack. So, you know what? If Nebraska could figure out what to do with Dampier, that'd have been a different game, but they couldn't figure out what to do with him because he was running so well. It made play action so much more effective. And the tight ends were just running with 10 yards around him all day long. Like, why can't we do that? Why can't we get Luke out there in those open spaces and running clear out routes with the wide receivers and sneaking Luke up underneath? And because he's good for 10 yards of yak every time he catches a ball because he just runs people over and knocks them out of the way. So, you know, that was the first reception I saw Luke get was it third quarter? He actually got a catch. And I'm like, shoot, where's he been for the last 5 games?
Yeah.
You know, seems like he's been criminally underused. But anyway,
I think a lot of that just has to do with play calling and scheme, timing. I mean, it all just kind of bleeds down from top to bottom. You can have playmakers, but if they're not given the right plays, what are they going to make?
Yeah.
I mean, you see it with Utah. It's like it's not that they were out athleting us. It's not that they were just so much better than us that we looked like a Division II team playing against, you know, somebody else. It was just their guys were timed at the right time. They knew exactly what to do to play this chess match, and we're out here playing checkers. It's just obvious to me at this point that whatever it is we're doing, it's not working. And
Yeah,
whatever it is
well,
Utah was doing, like Moonbot said, he said earlier in the chat, he said Utah's offensive production is exactly the offense I want, where you get 315 yards passing, 215 yards rushing. You get a mobile quarterback in there, physical mobile quarterback. You get these tight end sets with these hybrid tight ends like Buchanan and Bentley that are big enough to be tight ends, but not too big so they can be elusive, and they're extremely athletic, and they're not like 5-star guys. They're just really well developed, really well schemed up guys where an offensive coordinator knows what to do with his pieces.
Yeah.
It's just a night and day difference of what a 19-year program with an interim head coach that's been there since the beginning against a Matt Rule team that still doesn't even have an identity yet. Just perfect.
I think
Perfect
Pitt Snipe's got a great point here. I also think the scheme leans toward the pocket passer, and with that line, that's impossible. I think Hogue's been getting involved in our new QB acquisitions, Trey Taylor, and our portal targets. I agree. I think part of the reason why Dylan's out the door is because I think Rule probably put his foot down, said, we're going back to what my original blueprint was here that I wanted to do. Tough running game, mobile quarterback that can get out of trouble but throw the ball a little bit downfield on play action, and tough defense. So if we can figure out the defense, the offense will figure itself out, I think. So, yes, Moonbot, we got the UNLV quarterback. Was he at the game? I don't have any idea if he was at the game. Oh, geez, Louise. We'll get into some of the transfer portal guys here in a little bit. In fact, I think we're about there now. I think we've covered everything we can cover on the – I think we should just turn the page.
You're right.
What we saw, and let's move toward what maybe we could see in the future with this team, especially with some of these acquisitions. I'll admit, folks, I've tried to follow somewhat of what's going on with the transfer portal. Most of my information comes from X. I don't belong to a whole lot of subscription websites or anything like that. It's just I have a hard enough time paying attention to the rest of my life, much less do this stuff too. So, but we do have this wonderful website, and I know Scott's got some info too. I've been looking at the transfer portal tracker, which is provided by the Daily Nebraskan, kind of keeps you up to date on exactly where we're at. They have just added a safety from San Diego State, Dwayne McDougal. He had a total of 51 tackles last season, and the defensive back is effective against the run and pass and brings experience to Nebraska secondary. I like him. Sounds like he's kind of a hitter, heat-seeking missile. Iowa State linebacker Will Hawthorne. I know Dvorak went hard after this guy last year. Didn't quite land him, and with him, with Matt Campbell going on to Penn State, he's decided to come to Nebraska now. He's going to have 4 years of eligibility, 6'2", 225 pounds, a lot of speed. I think he came out of Louisiana. South Carolina, right tackle by the name of Tree. What a perfect name for an offensive lineman. Tree Babalade, I guess is how you say his last name. Please forgive me if I said it wrong, but he's 6'5", 330 pounds. Not quite as tall as some of the offensive tackles we've had so far since we've kind of shifted away from what we used to do back in the day. But this is more of a shorter, squattier guy that could probably have a little bit lower center of gravity, might not be moved as easy in pass protection. And in my opinion, he's going to be a mauler up front in the run game. Minchie, of course, flipped his commitment to Kentucky, so we did not get him. We did get Anthony Corlandria. Is that how you say his last name? The UNLV quarterback who threw for 3,459 yards, 23 touchdowns this past year, and he rushed for 650 and 10 touchdowns. I saw his sack adjust. That's the sack adjusted number without the sacks, which he did get sacked 5 times. Without the sacks, he rushed for almost 900. So a dude that can scoot a little bit. Mountain West Offensive Player of the Year. So that'd be some good competition for Latif for certain. I would give him the certain edge to be the starter going into fall as opposed to Latif. And I think that's about all other than the other San Diego State linebacker, Owen Chambliss, the leading tackler for San Diego State last year. 6'3", 230-pounder. So 68 tackles, 4 sacks this past season. And then the Iowa State lineman, Brendan Black, 320-pound. He's a right guard, so that's 650 pounds worth of beef on the right side of that line. Seemed like a lot of our success running the ball this year, if I remember correctly, especially in the bowl game, was to Pritchett's side. So it'll be nice to have 2 pretty good-sized dudes on that right side so that we can really start establishing a little bit of some push on that side of the line as well. And then Willis McGahee, the 4th, is in the transfer portal. We also know that Malcolm Hartzog is in the transfer portal. I believe there's a couple of other guys, but that's not on this site that I can see. All I can see here are guys that visited on January 3rd. So let's see if I can find anything else. Nope. Any other thoughts, guys? Looks like Roger Gradney entered the portal.
Yeah,
Christmas.
Keona Davis also entered the portal.
That's right. Maverick Noonan's gone. Marcos Davila, quarterback, is gone. Of course, Dylan, Jamarian Parker, the running back. I was kind of hoping he'd stick around. And then, of course, Caden Vermas, defensive back, left early December. So, anyway, guys, the portal giveth, the portal taketh away. I have a feeling some more giveth is coming. God knows we need a running back, I think. I think we need one for sure.
I think we do as well.
And I didn't mean to leave that one up there that long. But yes, we got the UNLV quarterback. And I do like the numbers he put up. I know it's the Mountain West Conference. I get that. But you take his experience level versus Minchie's inexperience level. I think I'll take Coralandria's, however the heck you say.
Yeah.
That's going to be a fun one for this next year, trying to pronounce that name. Isn't he?
I think it's Calandria.
Calandria. Is he like a senior? Is this going to be like his
He's a junior. So he will be a senior.
Okay. Which is perfect.
Yeah, I think that the upside of him is that he's got experience. But the downside about him is that he's short. But if we're going to be moving away from this pocket presence type of scheme, and we're more of like an RPO type of offense, then I guess, short quarterbacks aren't always. I remember watching a video of, I think it's like TKO, this YouTuber TKO, and he's just like a stats nerd and whatnot. Turns out that if you're 5'11", you are way more likely to be successful in college football than if you are 6'5".
Wow.
So statistically, you're way more likely to be successful as a shorter quarterback than you are a too tall quarterback. The sweet spot is that 6'3". 6'3" is right about that sweet spot.
Interesting.
But anyway, yeah. So it's an asterisk. Yeah, he's short, but statistically it doesn't mean much.
I don't think Latif's maybe an inch taller. So
I think he's 6'1". Yeah. But yeah, I guess it's just when I'm looking at what were our available options or what were any available options, I'm just always going to be skeptical if we're getting guys outside of the top 10 dudes, excluding obviously Raiola, because depending on which website you look at, he's in the top 5, top 6 transfer guys. So I'm not thrilled about it, but then again, technically DJ Lagway is like a top 10 transfer guy, and I wouldn't have been all that excited if we got him.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like parity and whatnot. I guess it's really a wait and see for me. I'd say, like I said, the thing that I'm going to hold on to is he's an experienced guy. He's going to push Latif for that starting job. And whoever ends up winning out, I think deserves it, no matter who it is. Yeah, I guess I'm just kind of I'm just really apathetic about whatever we get in the transfer portal, because I mean, off the top of my head, I don't really know of any like game records that we've gotten in the transfer portal in the last few years. In the rule era, I would say I haven't.
Lots of high potential guys, but we go back, and I put this in our little group text the other day, but I'll just say it on here. If you go back and listen to our shows from like July and August, I was pretty clear on how I felt of, hey, if this season isn't a big explosion with these transfer portal guys, like, I'm very much going to be in complete wait and see mode. I'm done getting super excited. And now that I've seen how this season's went, it's like, I hate that my brain is kind of there right now, but like, just kind of where I'm at. I will say I'm pretty excited for Calandria. Like, I do like that. I wasn't a huge fan of Minchie, and that's not revisionist history. If you've talked to me over the last week or so, you know that's kind of how I felt. You know, I wasn't super excited about it, but I am excited about Calandria just because, again, I'm someone who likes to see production on the field. I'm not a very big guy into getting too caught up in the hype and, but his potential is so crazy, and I'm just not there. I've seen enough at Nebraska over the last few years to know it doesn't matter. Dylan Riley had all the upside in the world, and maybe he's going to go transfer somewhere and dominate somewhere. I don't know. I personally don't see that happening, but who knows? That might happen, right? But it's not working here. So that's kind of where I'm at in terms of the super, high upside, hasn't shown it on the field, but the potential's high. I'm just not quite getting into all that yet.
Yeah, I think
I'm with you. I think we've done this since the transfer portal became a thing, right? That oh man, this guy's going to be so much better. The last time I can remember a transfer really working out here was, believe it or not, the Frost era. We got Samari Toure. That dude was a badass. You got Trey Palmer. He was awesome. I mean, other than that, can you really think of dudes that came in and made an immediate, tangible impact that came in through the transfer portal? I'd have to go back and look. I mean, off the top of my head, those are the
thing that's crazy. Is there have been guys that have left Nebraska that have made impacts. Like in the last 5 years, we've had guys leave the program and go to Ole Miss or go to Kentucky or go wherever. And they make an impact and get developed and then end up becoming a starter and do great things. And I have yet to see it here, especially in the rule era. You would think statistically that we would have at least one that we could be like, oh man, what a great pickup. What an awesome.
We've had some guys.
So glad we got that guy.
But not that, like we've had some guys be good here, but not great. You know what I mean?
Nothing that I can like pull off the top of my head. Like I can't just be like, because like you can instantly think of, like a Samari Toure or a Trey Palmer and be like, they made a difference. They were an impact player. Thank goodness for them. But in the last 3 years.
Okay, Isaiah Hunter. We can say Isaiah Hunter. That's a safe bet. He made a big impact early, but then it seemed.
I guess that's where I was like,
it's the consistency that we haven't seen from the transfers that's hard to.
Yeah, because here's a perfect example. Last year, what was the guy we got from Wake Forest? I'm blanking on his name.
Dropsies. Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, Drop Hands. What was his name?
Hands of Stone.
Can I quickly
go back? His name already. I know who you're talking about.
I'm gonna pull it up here in just a second. Jamal Banks. So Jamal Banks was supposed to be our guy last year, and what did he produce? Oh gosh, why do you have him as an NFL player right now? This is not what I want. All right, well, I can't pull that. I'm not going to go through that. But let's look at Dane Key. Dane Key, believe it or not, in the 4 seasons that he's played as a wide receiver, his worst season was at Nebraska.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's like he was supposed to be our guy this year. He was supposed to get us 700-800 yards at minimum of production, and he gave us 450. And he was basically.
And there's people that do the different podcasts, or you see him on Twitter or whatever. And if you even suggested that Dane Key wasn't going to be great this year, you're going to get yelled at, cussed at, whatever else. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was, if you even made the suggestion that, hey, maybe he's not going to work. So. Maybe he's not going to work out because, that just seems to be how it goes here. And there's a lot. Oh, come on, watch the film, look at him. You know what I mean? And I'm not in that category because I thought he was going to be great too. I'll throw myself in that. I thought he was going to be really good, but it's just crazy to think about.
And this is where I think the problem stems from is it's not necessarily that we're not getting good guys. It's just what coaching staff do we have?
Yep.
And what are they doing to continue to develop these guys? Because obviously they're not in the NFL yet. They're not professionals. They might have been able to put, 715 yards at Kentucky and, as a freshman gained, basically an average of 100 to 150 yards progress every single year of productivity. So what does it mean when he shows up at Nebraska and takes a huge nosedive statistically?
Yeah.
Well, it's got to be a coaching problem then. And it's not necessarily that our coaches aren't and it doesn't have to just be a singular problem. It's not just our wide receivers coach is bad. It's like, no, we've already talked about this. What are we doing? What are we doing with our chess pieces exactly that could set Dane Key up for success? But then to go to the flip side, Pitt Snipe put a really good opinion up there. He said Key did not win one single contested ball! I'd have to go back and watch the film, but based on my emotional memory, I think you're right. There were many 50-50 contested balls that he went up for and just didn't come away with them. It's just, there's just so many. The problem with Nebraska is there's not one problem. It's always this constellation of problems around around these things. It's not just, we're picking bad portal guys. It's like we're picking guys from up the portal and giving them a coaching staff and a playbook that is just not conducive to success. Where do you begin? Hopefully this year, this is my hope. My hope is that Matt Rule takes a step back, gets his little grimy fingers off of every little aspect of what his position coaches are doing, lets his offensive coordinator be the offensive coordinator, lets his defensive coordinator be the defensive coordinator.
Yep.
You're just there as quality control, buddy. Be that CEO that just let everybody do their damn job. Focus on your game management skills. And maybe just shut up for a while. Maybe just stop talking. I know he can't help it. He's who he is. But my hope is that all of our coaches are given the freedom and the mental real estate to do what their job is supposed to be, do their job, how their job is supposed to be done. These guys can get developed. We can have a healthy competition within those position groups. Calandria, and Latif can have a nice, healthy battle between the two of them. Our offensive line can have a come to Jesus kumbaya moment and realize that they want to be good at their job. And we can just basically hit the reset button. Because at this point, at year 3, with these transfers that we've had over the last 3 years that haven't produced much, we've got a lot of questions within our coaching staff. We're moving pieces around. Give them credit. They're moving pieces around. We still don't know what the deal is. Do we know what the deal is with that guy that supposedly was going to go to LSU and has he not made a decision yet? Have I been completely out of the loop with that?
The defensive line coach? I have no idea. I have
Oh,
I
no
feel
idea.
like it's just been crickets since.
If you're talking about Elijah Robinson, he is now the defensive line coach, I believe, or he's something at Texas A&M.
Is that
Oh
it?
my
Oh,
gosh.
that's right. He ended up going to A&M. He
Okay.
left LSU or whatever, went to A&M.
Yeah.
So do we even have a defensive line coach yet? I
No.
haven't been.
Oh,
Perfect.
No, our defensive
Incredible.
line coach search has gone on for 28 days, sir.
That is not good. I'll go out and say it. I'm off a limb here, buddy. That's not good. But trying to be as optimistic as I can, we have a perfect opportunity to just hit the reset button. The Matt Rule era starts year 1, 2026.
Hey, don't tell him that. Steve Sipple found that out at a press conference. Don't call it a program reset, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, the truth hurts, man.
Yeah, no. Hey, I'm with you. I believe that's what it is. I just think that's a funny clip of Sipple asking that at the press conference, and
I'd miss
no, that's
that.
ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Oh, I'll have to send it to you after we get off here. I'll send it.
So ridiculous. It's so crazy. Yeah, no, it's not crazy, you wingnut. You absolute buffoon. You brought in an absolute cancer to the program to the point where we actually are having to hit a reset. If this is what you wanted, Matt Rule, it's a lose-lose. Either you did not have the coaching insight to know that what you were bringing into this program to do was going to create problems, and then you would have to pay for them at some point, or you didn't know that. It's a lose either way. It's either you did know and did it anyway, or you didn't know, which shame on you. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. But like we said last week, Matt Rule would have been crucified for the world to see if he would have turned down the Raiola family. That would have he was put in a really bad position. So I'll give him credit there, but I guess that's all I have to say. Sorry, I'm on my little podium here. I'm just mad. I'm so mad.
Yeah, it's one of those, and I agree with you, Scott. I think he was kind of stuck between a rock and a Raiola and a hard place, if you will. Had to do what everybody expected him to do that Frost didn't do, but at the same time, it just didn't fit his blueprint. And I think if he would have taken the time to explain that this isn't where I want to go, maybe it'd have been easier. I don't know, but interesting. Pit Snipe says, rumor has it that Rule is waiting for Miami's D-line coach or the Texans D-line coach.
I'm hearing a lot of smoke around the Texans D-line coach is where I'm hearing, which I guess we'll see. I believe they're going to – I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if that'll be announced until after they're done with their playoff run, which as a Steelers fan, I hope that's coming to end very soon. But I hope their season's about to end.
Old Harbaugh's out at Baltimore.
Yep. I did.
You went to 12 playoffs in 18 years. You won a Super Bowl. How is a rookie field goal kicker missing a field goal of firing a fence? And that's the only reason you're not in the playoffs. It's just weird. NFL's weird.
Yeah.
So I'm not exactly sure what Pit Snipe means by this. Maybe you could explain it in another comment pit. Everybody,
I think what he's saying is pretty much. I don't want to speak.
He's speaking in line with what we were just talking about with Raiola and
I think he means
Matt
just
Rule being stuck.
Yeah. I'd say 99 of
that Rule fell on the Dillon sword instead of everybody else.
If 99% of the teams in the country had a chance to get Dillon when he wanted to flip, I feel like they would have taken that.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the only reason I won't say 100 is because maybe there's one I'm not thinking of. But
I can think of one specifically who would not give a flying fart in space what anybody thinks about their decisions and how they go about their business, and that would be Curt Cignetti. He would not care if there was a 5-star Indiana in-state recruit that did not fit his pass pro with a little bit of legs. Like the announcer said that what did they say about Mendoza, that he looks like he looks like a baby giraffe running, I think is what they said. But
yeah,
that's one athletic baby giraffe, I must
he's
say.
effective.
But
Just have to be effective.
Signetti would have totally just told people to stick it. Like, I don't care. He's not going to fit my system. He can go pound sand. I don't care.
Yep.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I didn't see that the Ravens fired Harbaugh. That's crazy.
They did.
I just saw it right before the show, right before I came down here. I saw it on Twitter. I was like, holy smokes. So
Crazy world.
I think Pitt was right here too, that unfortunately Uncle Donnie was part of the Dylan deal. I don't think we get Dylan if Uncle Donnie wasn't going to be sticking around. I'm not sure Matt Rule was keen on Donnie sticking around after 2023. So that offensive line was not good then either, even when they were trying to be better at running the football. So let's see. We have anything? Yeah, we got a couple other things we can talk about if we want to wrap up the portal discussion.
I do have a question for you guys, if you don't mind, just on the portal stuff. And we've kind of touched on it a little bit, but we haven't talked about it a ton. So one of the questions I had for you guys was like, how do you guys feel about the Minchie flipping his commitment after he signed? Like, because I've seen a lot of takes of, obviously, I mean, we've kind of said like we're kind of happier with the direction, but I do see the other take of it does kind of seem weird that we lost out on this guy to a Kentucky team. You know what I mean? I could see how that could be perceived as a bad look. I'm not sure I quite feel that way. But there's a lot of different perspectives out there. What are your guys', I guess, thoughts on losing out a guy that we had committed but not signed on the dotted line?
It was a little weird to read that when he first entered the transfer portal, it was a no contact, do not contact me type of deal. So apparently there was tampering going on. My read on it, based on everything I've read and some of the things I've seen some media people mention on Twitter, is Kentucky offered a bigger bag.
So
and Rule said, no, I'm not offering a bigger bag to a guy that I'm not going to guarantee a starting spot to.
So if you don't mind, I can give you both sides' perspectives just because I've heard some things, and they're actually completely opposite. But so the Nebraska side, which they're feeling very strongly on, is that they offered around $1 million. Kentucky offered around $2 million. And Nebraska wasn't willing to pay that for a guy who hasn't, had the production. Here's what I will say. The Minchie side of this, and again, I'm not saying this is true, not true, wherever. Their side of it, which their sources seem to be telling the ESPN, portal people of the world, was that Nebraska offered more money than Kentucky.
Wow.
But that they chose Kentucky because of the staff fit. Now, again, I'm not saying that is true, but I feel like that's at least what they are saying publicly through their sources. I forgot the guy. I heard him talking about it today on one of the radio shows. He works for ESPN. He says that's their side of it. Now, I've been told by people who work at the University of Nebraska, the Nebraska side of it, which was Kentucky offered more. So who knows what's really true, but that's kind of an interesting, I don't know. But I feel like I at least wanted to mention that there is at least his side of it. Again, I'm not sure I believe it, but I feel like I could at least mention, you know what I mean?
Kentucky just parted way with Mark Stoops, so they're bringing in a whole new coaching staff now. So there could be something to that he liked the new staff that's coming into Kentucky versus what he's watched Nebraska do for the last 3 years.
Well, if you watch what Stein at Kentucky has done with some of the guys he's worked with, I could see that. I don't know. I just thought that was kind of I thought it was interesting that what their story is the exact opposite of Nebraska's. Again, no one will ever really know the truth beside the couple people who were involved. But I thought that was kind of interesting that there's at least they put out, their side through their sources, and that was the complete opposite.
Well, looking at Minchie going into Kentucky from a money/playing time standpoint, I mean, their starting quarterback from Kentucky, Cutter Boley, transferred out with staff and all that fun stuff, went in the transfer portal. And there was no clear-cut number 2 aside from, I don't know who Zach Calzada is, but he's got like 200 yards.
Oh, no, he will for sure be the starter there. And that
So I
Not
think it was
necessarily
a
the case.
that and it was
Yeah,
a money.
Yes.
It was a money and he's not having to compete for a starting job, and that's a ball. That's a gamer.
Yep.
He could get paid $2 million to come to Nebraska, or get paid, a crisp $1 million, whatever it would be,
Right.
over 7 figures to come to Nebraska, but have to compete for a job and then potentially tarnish his transfer rating by sitting on a bench for a year.
Yeah.
Just go to Kentucky. Yeah, and then on the flip side, I don't know. I'm not going to say that. I was going to say something. I'm not going to say it. I changed my mind.
I like it. New year, new you.
Good Snipe has, I don't know, I'm curious about y'all's opinion. Is Uncle Donnie still part of the Dylan deal as he searches for landing
I'm willing to, Pit Snipe, I'm willing for you to come back to me whenever he does go somewhere and tell me that I'm wrong, because obviously I don't know. Just off of things I've heard, I would say that is not part of the deal, is what I will say. I don't want to get into tons of specifics here on the air because who knows what's true, what's not true. I don't want to slander anybody, but I believe that wherever Dylan goes, Donnie will not go.
Yeah, I think I'm going to bet, just from a simple, football is football. It is what it is. It's a different beast, but ultimately it is a profession. It is a job that requires resumes and interviews and references. And the last thing that Donnie and Dylan want is to have people be scrupulous with their references. If they choose, I'm a package deal, well, there's going to be some phone calls to the University of Nebraska, and they're going to ask questions. Hey, as a package deal, what do you think of this? Terrible, cancerous, awful, no good, very corrupt, very controlling. And if that's what we as a Husker fan nation, we are way plugged in. We know everybody knows everybody. We're like a small town type of program. So somebody's going to know something at some point. And what we know is that they were not a pairing that was conducive with a cohesive camaraderie of the program. And so wherever they would go, if they were a package deal, they could never, they wouldn't be able to even get that successfully, because they would just call Nebraska and Nebraska would be like, it's terrible, awful, don't do it. I want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. And no one would hire him. No one would want to sign Dylan if he had to go with his uncle. So
that would be my guess. Yeah.
That's my like, I don't know, just uneducated guess. I'd say, like, a more practical reason of analysis, I guess. But then again, I don't know.
I think Pitt Snipe's got a good point here too, that Nebraska has to protect their NIL in order to reload the trenches. Maybe that's why not what they did with Minchie, but we can't afford $6 million plus in a QB room with $4 million sitting on the bench. And I agree. I agree. We need to get those guys, those big hosses up front. I mean, we could have all the money in the world, as we have proven over the last 3 years. We could have all the money in the world tied up in skill position, and it means diddly squat if up front isn't good enough to get those guys time to get open as receivers, or not have to do 60% of the work to get your rushing yards like Emmett had to do this year, quite frankly. So definitely agree, Pitt Snipe, that we'd want to be spending money in the trenches. And I'm getting nervous. I'm not afraid to say it. I'm getting nervous that I have not seen any big time defensive line information coming out yet in this.
We don't have a coach.
So,
I think that's part of it. Maybe I'm wrong. I have heard some of and this isn't even just a Nebraska thing. I've heard this might be the year that, some of the guys in the transfer portal have just been slower to, commit to some of these places, because right now there seems to not be the huge rush.
Right.
But I also I think it's practical to say that it's going to be hard to get commits when you don't have a position coach,
leader.
especially at a position like defensive line, because a defensive line coach is one of those that really, really matters. Not that all position coaches don't matter. Don't get me wrong. But to me, when I'm looking at like a quarterback, for instance, I'm looking more at who's the OC than I am the quarterback coach. Especially in today's world with big time players of like they all have their own little quarterback coaches anyway. You know what I mean? But like offensive and defensive line coaches, I feel like are the most important position coach. They have such a big unit as well, literally like in terms of their size and the amount of guys in their position group. So yeah, no, I feel like that plays a big part of it is that we do not have a defensive line coach right now.
Yeah, I would say to give at least credit where credit is due within the transfer portal. We've got an interior offensive line commit that's in the top 20. And then with Tree, oh gosh, what is his last name again? Let me pull this up. Where are you? Yeah. Oh, where are you, buddy?
In the Dobby or something like that.
Yeah, we've got a top 3 interior offensive line. That Black kid, last name Black specifically.
Yeah, from State. Yeah.
He's a white kid. He's very white. And then our offensive tackle is that top 20 commit, Trey Babalade.
Yep.
So I mean,
maybe his name is pronounced Trey. Probably is. I don't like being called Tree.
Tree. No, I don't know. I think Tree sounds about right. Yeah. The E is silent. One of the E's is silent. I know how that works. Yeah. So interior and tackle, we got at least one guy on the interior and one guy on the tackle position that are higher rated transfer guys. So yeah, to Pitt's point, yeah, we got to be spending a lot of NIL to rebuild these trenches. Get a good running back. I mean, we're going to end up paying $1 to $1.5 million for this quarterback.
Yeah.
What else do we need? We need a lot. We need a lot to rebuild.
I think we're good at receiver, but I could see a running back for sure.
Yeah, give me a running back. Give me a corner. I would like a secondary guy. Just for kicks and giggles. I guess we have had.
They're prioritizing safety, it looks like, more than anything. So,
yeah.
So,
anyway,
college football semifinals, boys. We know who's playing. Miami's playing Ole Miss. I think it's the Fiesta Bowl, right? And then in the Peach Bowl, you've got Indiana against Oregon. We're playing for the second time in the year. Who do you guys have winning those games? Start with you, Scott.
Hold on. I'm pulling something up. Why does the website of ESPN it's not as sexy as the app? This is annoying.
I'm 100% with you, brother.
Like the app is so intuitive and so easy to run, and then the website's I'm going to be a forum website from 2008.
They want to.
I think that every single time I get on this show and I have one of my tabs open here is ESPN. I think that every single time I'm on here.
Okay, so yes, Fiesta Bowl. We got Miami. We got Ole Miss. I believe Miami is favored by 3 points or something. Let me pull this up.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Yeah, Miami's favored by 3.5 points. Point total is 52.5 points. Ooh, yeah, that's interesting. Very interesting. I'm going to go with my gut, and I'm going to say that Miami wins. I think it's been great what Ole Miss has been able to do with Lane Kiffin stepping away and going to LSU and being forced to not be able to coach. Props to those guys for fighting. I mean, dude, I loved their uniforms when they played last week. Those helmets. Those helmets are they're just so clean. And for the sake of who I want to win the national championship, I would love Ole Miss to actually win and go to the finals. But I just think that Miami's defense is just they're too good. And their offense is just, it's not that their offense is incredible. They're just efficient. They've got Carson Beck. He's a game manager. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to play with the system. They've got some dogs. It's not that they're inept on offense. It's just that their defense just outshines everything that they do on offense and gives their offense a lot of wiggle room to play with. So I'm gonna have to go with Miami. Yeah, I don't know what you guys think, but I think Miami wins.
Yeah, no, I also think Miami wins that one. It like you said, that defense is legit. It's as legit can get. Yeah, they fly around. They're real big and nasty up front. They play mean. They hit people hard. And yeah, I am rooting for the Ole Miss story. I would love for them to win this game. I don't know, something about the way that Miami's been playing over the last few weeks. I think they're just going to be tough. So yeah, I think Miami's going to be in the national championship.
Make it 3 for 3. I think Miami's defense is just too good. Though I will give that game between Ole Miss and Georgia was one of the best college football games I have seen since that Rose Bowl between Texas and USC. I mean, it had everything. It was a fantastic game. And those dudes on both sides of the ball on defense, Georgia and Ole Miss, deserve major kudos because those guys were throwing their bodies into everything at full tilt. They didn't hold anything back. And I hope Ole Miss does this again in this game against Miami, because Miami's going to bring every bit the same level of wood that Georgia did. So they're at least prepared for what Miami's bringing. I think Miami's a little bit better on that side of the ball than Ole Miss is. And you do have a distraction. You can't tell me that half that offensive staff leaving to go coach for Lane either before or after this game it's just going to be a distraction. So I give the edge to Miami because their foundation's in place. Cristobal's a hell of a coach. He's got great assistants. He's got a good staff. He's actually got a guy that helps him manage a game. Hey, Rule might want to take a look at where he went and found that guy. It might be another one out there. Anyway, Miami. I think Miami wins it by 3. I don't think they cover. I think Ole Miss covers. So the other game is the same. I mean, Oregon and Indiana. Indiana's favored by 3.5. I'll kick this one off. It's hard to beat a team twice in a row.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to put my money on a coach that knows how to beat that team better than he did the first time, I'm going to place my money on Cignetti all day long. So I like Indiana in this game. I like Oregon to keep it close. I think it's going to be another one of those dog fights until about the fourth quarter. And then I think Indiana pulls away and probably covers the spread and wins by 10. That's what I think happens. What's the over-under on those? Does it say?
Yeah, the over-under on the Oregon-Indiana game is 47.5. So they're expecting it to be a little bit lower scoring of a game than Miami and Ole Miss. About 5 points less.
I'd take the over on that Indiana-Oregon game. If I were a bet man, I would probably take the over.
I don't know. That's tough.
I like both teams' offenses. So, that Oregon offense is way better than Alabama's.
What was the score for the first? Yeah, it was. Well, I guess the first time they played, it was 30-20, so they were right at about 50 points. So,
neutral site, everybody, they're going to let out all the stops. I mean, this is it. Win or go home. So, I like the over in that game. What do you guys think? Who do you think wins that game, Coach?
I will say, if you would have asked me this a week ago, because I would have been predicting both Indiana and Oregon to move on and face each other, I probably would have said I expect Oregon to win. Just kind of like you said, I think it's really incredibly difficult at high-level college football to beat a very high-level team twice.
Yeah.
However, then I watched what Indiana did to Alabama. And I understand I've been one of the people that said Alabama's not that great this year, but what Indiana did in the Rose Bowl kind of swayed me. And you guys know me, I am a big Curt Cignetti fan. I know not everybody is, but I've been kind of backing him since pretty much day one. I liked his attitude, right? And you can go back and forth on how you feel, but I've liked it. So I'll say I do think that he's going to make a big difference. Not that I don't like Dan Lanning. I just feel, and maybe I'll be wrong, but I feel like what Indiana is this year is the closest thing in the transfer portal era to like one of those really good Nick Saban teams. They're beating people for the most part the way, like when I load up, the NCAA college football 2026 video game, like that's how they've been beating some people this year. You know what I mean? Outside of a couple games, but that's the type of football they've been playing. So I'm going to pick Indiana in this one.
Yeah, this one's tough for me. Because if you would have asked me a week ago, I would have picked Indiana. And what I've seen from them, I really want to pick Indiana. It's just tough. It seems almost too good to be true, because I know if Indiana gets to the finals, it doesn't matter if it's Miami or Ole Miss. At that point, I think they're winning it all. Mm-hmm. Miami's defense is great. It is what it is. But at that point, it's like destiny has just been written in the stars for Indiana, and the movie that is eventually going to be made for these 2 years of this Kurt Signetti experiment is just going to be, there's going to be Hollywood directors already writing up a script. Like it's just that crazy of a story. But I do wonder if Oregon is just going to be there to spoil it all for them. It's tough, man. I want to say my heart wants Indiana, but my head says pick the Ducks. Because I gotta pick Indiana, dude. I gotta pick them. I gotta pick them. Like I really want to pick Oregon, not because I want them to win, but just because I'm not allowed to have nice things in my life, even vicariously as a Husker fan, and vicariously because I knew we weren't playing Indiana this year. After they did what they did to Illinois, I'm like, oh, I'm a fan. Oh, you don't do this. Like you don't beat Illinois 63-10. Like, what is that? That's absolutely redonkulous. I'm going to cheer for these guys. Mendoza, Hemby, was it Kalon Black or something like that? Like they just got this such a team. And I'm right there with you, Coach. I've always liked Signetti since last year. Yeah, he rubs people the wrong way, but at this point he's kind of proven his braggadocious demeanor. But I'm gonna have to pick Indiana, and I think it's gonna be one of those games that really challenges Indiana. I think that Oregon is up by 2 scores at some point, and Indiana has to dig deep, and they have to grind it out, and they do what they've done against Penn State, and they just find a way to drive down the field and pull off a miraculous game winner. And at that point, it's like you might as well just give them the trophy, man. They've done it. They've earned it.
So we all got Indiana and Miami in the final.
Yeah.
Who wins it all then? You guys think Indiana ends up doing it even against that Miami defense?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think Indiana wins, and then he becomes one of, if not the only, football coach to have a statue outside the stadium while you're still actively coaching. I think if they win the national championship at Indiana, you have to, man.
How quickly do they expand that stadium? Like in the next 3 years? I mean, it holds what, 60 maybe?
Right.
Yeah. So
yeah, and dude, I remember texting you guys, and it was like Vegas and everything. There was always the chance of this happening after the kind of elimination rounds went about, and those first 4 seeds kind of all played out the way that they did. But man, how crazy is it that you've got these 4 teams all competing in the semifinals, and the most recent one to ever win a championship has been Miami. And then Ole Miss is they call it a shared championship of 1960, but they weren't number 1 in the AP poll, and pretty much every
put that in a banner. So yeah,
they just kind of claim it themselves, but nobody really ever considered them a national champion that year. So really, you have 3 teams that have never even won a national championship, and no matter who wins against Indiana and Oregon, if either one of them win,
they're going to be playing,
first-time champion. And gosh, just for the sake of storyline, I would love it if Ole Miss made it to the finals, so that no matter who wins, they are winning an outright championship that neither program has ever tasted.
Yep.
Like, what a fun
God,
all this like, I hate NIL.
I do too, but this is how you win me back.
Yes.
Yeah.
That it's like there was nobody preseason. If you would have told them, dude, imagine this. If you were like, oh, who's the guy? There's always some pundit on ESPN. The black dude, what's his name? He's always getting crap because he gives these really wild preseason top 25 predictions and who he thinks is the top 10 program. I'm forgetting his name.
I have no clue who you're talking about because I don't pay attention to ESPN.
But he always gets dogged on because he has these wildly out there predictions. But this is like one of those that he would have predicted and everybody would have dogged him. But yeah, like the final 4 teams would be Indiana, Oregon, Ole Miss, and Miami. People's brains would explode.
Right.
Yeah.
Preseason. Like, what even is this?
What was the one I saw yesterday on Twitter? Indiana could win the national championship in the next 2 weeks, and then the poll will come out at the preseason next year, and they'll be ranked like 20.
Yeah.
That's what ESPN does. That's what, you know. But yeah, I'm with you guys. I think I too. I think if Indiana gets there and it's Miami or Ole Miss, doesn't matter who it is. I think it's written in the stars. I think Sig gets it done. And then I'm Coach, I've been one of those guys that, I've been very open about it. I didn't care necessarily for Signetti's demeanor and the bravado and all that kind of stuff. Dude's won me over. His coaching has absolutely won me over. And as I've watched some of the interviews and stuff he's done with other people outside of kind of the media, he's just a good dude. Seems like a really good dude. Seems like he loves his players, loves coaching them. That was a power move, man, in the Rose Bowl to have that quarter zip a little bit unzipped. And what do you know? The son of a gun ain't even wearing a shirt under it.
Do you see him do the finger guns?
But yeah.
He did the finger guns at Pat McAfee.
Yep.
He just looks over at him and he's just like, boom. Like, dude has swagger.
Well,
dude has got swagger. And now that I've
boys flex too, and then he looked over and he gave him the finger. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, because I guess my algorithm thinks that I'm an Indiana fan now, which is hilarious. I see almost more Indiana stuff than I do Nebraska at this point. The edits, man, the edits are incredible. These dudes have got where did Indiana come up with all of these, hype edit Gen Z style baseline edits that are just, they got so much motion, dude. They're incredible. You just can't help but want to hype up Indiana. We are like you said, we are just watching like an NCAA dynasty from some kid's PlayStation 5, and we're just watching it be live streamed in front of us.
So here, let's say you're a college football fanatic that in 25 years from now is looking back on this playoff era, and they see 3 Big Ten teams that have won national championships 3 years in a row, and they look at the list, and it's Ohio State, Michigan, and Indiana. And they're looking at the list going, wait, wasn't that the worst program, literally the worst program in Division I football until, and who knows, maybe 25 years from now, Signetti's kid is coaching there or something, and they're just continuing it on. And he's like the next Tom Osborne, where he's got 10 wins just in his pocket every single year. All he has to do is go out and coach them, But that was a fun exercise, boys. We've been going for almost an hour and a half. And most of that time was not spent on the Las Vegas Bowl. Thank the good Lord for that. But I've enjoyed this. This has been fun. And like I said, guys, I don't know for any of you who are watching or listening later, I'm not sure what date it's going to be in February, but as soon as I know, I will let everybody know out there on the socials when we will do our live stream with the Husker Podcast, doing the results of the 2025 over-under game, which should be interesting. I don't think we're going to be very close on any of the numbers because it was kind of a weird season.
We were tracking.
We were at early.
Like the first 4 games, it was like, oh man, we're looking good for these numbers. We might supersede most of them. And nope. So, and I finally remember that guy's name. Sorry to interrupt. Desmond Howard.
Desmond Howard.
Okay.
You would have said game day, I would have got you.
Yeah, my bad.
I know who you're talking about.
He's always out there making these most outlandish preseason predictions during the season predictions.
Well, he's just outlandish, so
yeah, he's a little bit cuckoo, but yeah. I was like, I remember it.
Dang, he was a good kick returner, man.
Oh yeah, great player.
Nobody was more electric with the ball in his hand on a kick or a punt return than Desmond Howard was. So it was a lot of fun to watch.
Anyway, sorry, I threw you off the rails there. My bad.
You're good. And yes, nobody listens to him. He stole a Heisman. I can't remember what year he won it, but it wasn't the year that who was up for it. Charles Woodson got one the year that Peyton Manning should have won it.
Let's find out.
That was, to me, was a stolen Heisman. Desmond Howard, I think, won it a few years before that, before he went to the NFL. Just don't remember what the year was.
1992 is when he went to the NFL.
Okay, so he won it after the 91 season. Who would have been? I don't even remember. I think Testaverde maybe would have been a quarterback back then for Miami. There would have been a Miami quarterback, I'm sure, in consideration. But
sorry, boys, this is way past my expertise.
You're good. Yeah. I'm old. I have a lot of it, but it's all useless. Anyway, how can folks find you, Coach, out there on the interwebs?
If you go to on X, Coach Audi AUDE, you'll find me on there.
Scott?
Yeah, you can follow me at Scott Genred Pod on X. That's Scott with 2 T's. The second T is and will always remain silent. Unlike me.
That's right. And to follow the show, you can follow the show at Genred Pod on Facebook, X, and YouTube. Our podcast, if you prefer audio format, is Generation Red on Apple, Google, Spotify, or Spotify. That's good. Or your favorite podcast app. Our website is genredpod.com. Email is genredpod@gmail.com. Make sure you're following us at any of those places. And as soon as we know what that February date is to do our 2025 over-under results show with the guys from the Husker Podcast, I will post it out there to social media. So for Scott and for Coach, we'd like to thank all of you for watching and listening. We are Generation Red, and we're here to chronicle, hopefully, Nebraska's maybe perhaps return to college football somewhat goodness, one podcast at a time, because there's no place like Nebraska.
And
Iowa's corn sucks.
I've got to come up with a new ending there because I'm not on the train to end these podcasts the way we used to. So he's either got to win me back, or we're gonna have to come up with a new one, boys.
It's all good, Coach. Perfectly understandable. And Pit Snipe Husker with a great salutatory and goodbye. He says, "Take care, fellas. Good chat." We appreciated you being in the chat tonight, Pit Snipe. Sorry we didn't get to all of your comments. But we certainly appreciate you engaging with us. Make sure you leave us a like on the way out. We'd really appreciate it. And until next time, go Big Red, and we will see you in February.
Go Big Red.